And to election matters now, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has asked political parties to adhere strictly to all electoral guidelines ahead the Edo and Ondo Governorship election. Senior reporter Ademola Lawrence reports.
In 7 months, Edo and Ondo state residents will go to the polls to choose who will govern the state in the next democratic dispensation. Here at the INEC headquarters, this meeting is the second quarterly meeting for the year 2024, and it is happening barely 4 months to the forthcoming governorship election in Edo State in September and Ondo in November. The national chairman of the APC Labour Party, SDP, as some of the party chairmen in attendance. INEC has already ticked some of the boxes in the preparation and has published the final list of candidates and their running mates in the forthcoming Edo election. The INEC chairman urges the political parties to adhere strictly to all electoral guidelines for the exercise.
It is also imperative to remind political parties of the need to adhere strictly to the timeline for the upload of the list of polling and collation agents to the dedicated portal. Doing so will enable the Commission to produce and deliver the identity cards in good time.
For the Ondo election, he reminded the political parties of the 1-week deadline for the nomination of candidates, which is 6 p.m. on Monday, 20th May 2024, when the portal will automatically shut down.
Political parties have been given 23 days, over 3 weeks, from the end of primaries to prepare and submit the list of only 2 candidates, governorship candidate and running mate, to the Commission. There will be no extension of time.
Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council emphasized the need for politicians to abide by the rules and regulations, insisting democracy must be collectively sustained. He also criticized the high price of nomination forms and promised that IPAC will engage political parties to curb these disturbing trend.
All eyes are on INEC to conduct free, fair, credible and acceptable inclusive elections with adequate preparation, functional beavers and capacity to upload results in real time on its IRA portal. Nigerians will once more have confidence.
The Commission says in the coming days, the list of uncollected PVCs will be published in all INEC offices in the 2 states simultaneously, uploaded to their website, and encourage those who have not collected their PVCs in the 2 states to seize the opportunity to do so. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's now bring in election observer Lufemi Lawson to talk about that particular meeting between INEC and stakeholders of political parties ahead at Edo and Ondo governorship election. Good to have you join us. He joins us virtually.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me start by getting your reaction to this. We see INEC holding this meeting a month before this election. Edo is holding in September. Ondo is holding in November.
Yes. Thank you for having me. What INEC did yesterday is in line with the timeline of activities for the off-season elections in Edo State, which is for September, and Ondo State in November. You must understand that the business of election is not just the business of INEC. It must engage stakeholders, the political parties, even political parties, candidates, observers, the media also, and even that people, the security agencies and all those involved in the electoral chain, in order to be able to deliver a credible, free and fair election as expected by the people. So it is good that INEC is coming out and, most importantly, reminding the political parties of certain deadlines and certain expectations if at all they are going to participate in this election, because the timetable already said by INEC is stable, and I don't think INEC is ready to shift these dates or reorder its scheduled arrangement for this election.
I want to talk on the issue raised by the IPAC chairman, who was talking about, I don't know if that meeting was the right place to raise it, but the issue of the nomination forms, the price for nomination forms, and he thought that it was too high. Some people would say, look, that issue should have been raised before the nomination forms were sold, maybe not at that meeting. But let me also get your reaction to that as well, that particular concern.
Well, it's an issue of concern not only to IPAC, of course. It's an issue that has been raised severally by Nigerians, particularly the young people who are not opportune to purchase nomination forms, especially of the major political parties, to participate in the election. So it's not an issue that is just being raised yesterday by IPAC. It's an issue that has been raised by the media, by the civil society, by other stakeholders as far as election activities are concerned. And I think it must be an issue that must be consistently debated or discussed rather whenever opportunities are available, especially when political parties who are the center of fixing these amounts for nomination forms are gathered. So yesterday was an opportunity for IPAC, having prominent political parties like the APC, PDP, Labour Party, and others attending that meeting. I think it was not out of place for IPAC to have reminded the political parties that it must do things that will encourage more Nigerians to be able to participate in these elections. And one of those key things is the cost of nomination forms for governorship and other positions by these political parties.
And the Electoral Act is used to regulate the activities of some of these political parties. And, even up to how much they can spend during campaign. I don't know if political parties follow through that particular provision of the Electoral Act. But is that something that can also be legislated?
Yeah, it is. If it's possible for us to legislate on cost of election, how much a candidate is allowed. So even though we have not been auditing this because the political parties have not been transparent in their financing, in their election financing, until we begin to have a process that can genuinely audit how much our political parties are spending on election, we may not be able to actually fix the cost of them. And the cost of nomination form may vary on the basis of the size, the popularity of political parties. But I think there must be a benchmark, there must be a ceiling to how much can be fixed for the purchase of this form. And I think that must be part of the regulations that INEC or guide. INEC may not necessarily be able to determine the modus operandi of how political parties will run its affairs, but it must be able to guide to some extent how issues, particularly that relates to election financing, which the nomination form purchase is part of, are conducted by these political parties.